There is no need to strive, struggle, or hustle for what is already yours. Your fortune, your breakthrough, your success. It is not something to get. It is something to accept. Right now, in this moment. You don't need to search the world. You need only search your own inner sea. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. There is a version of you who already won, already received, already celebrated. The money is in the account, the door is already open, the letter has already arrived, the celebration is already in motion, and your only job is to hit play. When you close your eyes and see yourself at the finish line, you are not fantasizing, you are remembering. You are stepping into the end that has always been yours. The inner scene you replay again and again. That's the script, that's the tape. Just hit play. You don't manifest by force, you manifest by surrender. You surrender to the reality that is already written for you in the unseen realm. The moment you assume you have it, the universe begins to echo back, yes, yes, it is yours. Do not ask how. The how is not your burden. The seed doesn't need to know how the tree will form. The spark doesn't ask how the fire will grow. It simply burns. You simply believe. Just like a recorded song doesn't begin when you press play. It was already created. Your jackpot was already prepared. Pressing play simply reveals what's been waiting. So go within. Close your eyes. Feel the moment you already won. Walk into the house that is already yours. Smile like the person who already received the news. The jackpot doesn't come to the one who waits. It comes to the one who lives as if it's done. You are not on the outside looking in. You are the center of this creative force. You speak and life obeys. You feel and the world bends. So stop doubting, stop delaying, just hit play. The jackpot is already yours. Imagination is not a mere tool for idle daydreaming. It is the secret chamber through which all things come into form. What you can imagine clearly, what you can see with the eyes of the spirit and feel as real within your body, this you already possess in the invisible. You may not yet touch it with your hands or see it with your eyes, but it exists nonetheless. Your senses, grounded in the world of appearances, may scream that it is not so. They may echo back lack, limitation, or delay. But the spirit within you knows better. It does not wait for the five senses to approve. It affirms that the unseen is more real than what is seen, and imagination is the channel by which it is made manifest. To imagine a thing is to clothe it in substance. It is to mold the formless into form. Every great creation, every fortune, relationship, healing, and breakthrough was first imagined. It existed first in the invisible mind of someone bold enough to believe that what they imagined could become real. They dared to step into a scene not yet visible and feel the reality of it so deeply, so vividly, that the universe had no choice but to conform. The outer world is slow and mechanical. The inner world is immediate and alive. Imagination operates on the speed of thought. You can, in an instant, be rich, healed, loved, and free, inwardly. And when you persist in that assumption, the world you see must eventually catch up to what you have accepted within, because life always mirrors what you accept as true in the depths of your being. The tragedy is that most people use their imagination against themselves. They replay scenes of fear, lack, rejection, or failure and wonder why their lives reflect the same. But the truth is unchanging. What you accept and feel as true within becomes fact without. And so the invitation is simple but powerful. Imagine better. Imagine higher. Imagine yourself as already possessing all that your heart longs for. Sit quietly. See the scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Don't look at it. Step into it. Feel what you would feel. Hear the sounds, sense the atmosphere, breathe the air of completion. Let your inner world become so vivid that you forget, for a moment, that it's not real. Because in that moment, it becomes more real than anything else. And that's the moment when your reality begins to shift. The senses may protest, the facts may disagree, but if you hold firm to the image and return to it in faith, you will discover the great mystery, that the unseen shapes the seen and the imagined eventually becomes your experience. So dare to imagine boldly, because in doing so you are not wishing, you are claiming. You are not hoping, you are receiving. You are not chasing, you are possessing. Imagination is the gateway, and through it, everything you desire is already yours. The greatest secret of all manifestation lies in this simple truth. The end is the beginning. Everything you could ever desire, every goal, dream, or vision you hold in your heart, it is already finished in the unseen realm. Creation is complete. You are not trying to make something happen. You are awakening to what already exists. The path, the answer, the connection, the opportunity, it has already been written. Your only task is to enter the unseen in consciousness and dwell there as though it were your present reality. Most people make the mistake of beginning at the beginning. They look at their current circumstances and try to work their way toward the goal, step by logical step. But this is the slow, uncertain way. It is the way of the outer world. The inner world follows a higher law. If you can see the end clearly in your mind and feel it as real, you collapse time. You bring the result to you, not through effort, but through alignment, and to the end. Don't ask how it will happen. That's not your role. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that governs all things. Your role is to claim the end result and walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not fantasy, it is faith. It is the bold declaration that it is done before any evidence appears. The moment you assume the end, the means begin to move. People, events, conversations, and resources start to align in response to your inner claim. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every hour to check on it. You plant it and live in the knowing that it is growing beneath the surface. The same law applies here. Once you have imagined the end and accepted it in feeling, let it be. Persist in that state. Return to it often. Speak from it, think from it, respond to life as if it were already yours. That is the secret. This is not a mental trick. It is a spiritual principle. The world will always mirror the state you occupy within. If you live from the end, the world has no choice but to conform. Life organizes itself around the image you hold as true. You are not forcing outcomes. You are living in the frequency of fulfillment. And here is the beauty. The end seen already exists. It is a reality in the infinite field of possibilities. When you imagine it, you are not creating something new. You are stepping into something already complete. Your imagination is the bridge. Your feeling is the key. Your assumption is the gate. Stop beginning at the beginning. Start at the end. Walk through the door in your mind and you will find that all the doors in the outer world begin to open. The end is not something you hope for. It's something you enter. The moment you do, everything else begins to unfold with quiet certainty. The world teaches you to fight, to strive, to push your way through life as if success is earned only by sweat and struggle. But there is a higher law, one that moves in silence and power. That law says this: inner acceptance trumps outer struggle. It is not your effort that creates reality, but your agreement with the unseen truth of who you already are and what is already yours. When you accept something inwardly with full conviction, life bends itself to reflect that agreement with exact and flawless precision. You do not need to force the world to cooperate with your desires. The moment you accept the desire as fulfilled within, Without doubt or contradiction, the outer world must begin to shift. It is not a matter of effort, it is a matter of inner certainty. You become like a magnet to the scene you have claimed. But it is not achieved by striving. Striving implies separation. Acceptance implies union. And union is power. Many people live in resistance. They desire one thing but emotionally dwell in the opposite. They want love but feel abandoned. They want wealth but identify with lack. They want peace but entertain anxiety. This is why struggle continues. The outer world must mirror the inner world. Until there is harmony within, there cannot be harmony without. But when you quiet your mind, settle into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and accept your desire not as something you're chasing, but something already yours, then something remarkable happens. You find yourself acting with ease, guided by intuition. The right people show up, the doors open without knocking, the answers come without searching. Life begins to move on your behalf because you are no longer resisting it with inner contradiction. It is not the loud declarations that manifest. It is the quiet assumptions. It is the still confidence that says, it is done, even when appearances say otherwise. This acceptance is not passive, it is creative. It reshapes reality from the inside out. You no longer need to wrestle with life because you've already won within. This is not a denial of action. You will still act, but your actions will be inspired, not forced. They will flow from a state of knowing, not fear. The difference is profound. One is struggle, the other is alignment. When you are aligned inwardly with your desire, your movements carry the weight of divine ardor. What once required effort now unfolds effortlessly. So pause, ask yourself, have I truly accepted what I want as mine? Or am I still wrestling with doubt, fear, and contradiction? The answer lies in how you feel. If you feel peace, if you feel certainty, then the seed is planted. The process has begun, and nothing can stop it. Inner acceptance is the secret, the unseen cause of every seen effect. Accept now, and the world will follow. What you hold within, you hold in your hand. By law, by design, by truth. Your attention is not passive, it is power. It is the spark that brings dormant realities into motion. Whatever you give your sustained focus to, whether by thought, emotion, or imagination, begins to take form. Your life, moment by moment, is a mirror of what you have consistently honored with your attention. It is not the fleeting thought that shapes your world, but the dominant focus you carry with feeling and persistence. Like pressing play on a recording, your attention activates what was already prepared and waiting. Every possibility already exists. Every version of your life, rich, poor, loved, alone, fulfilled, empty, already resides in the infinite field of potential. You are not trying to create something from nothing, you are selecting from what already is. Attention is the selector. It is the invisible finger that touches a thread in the web of reality, causing it to vibrate and bring forth a new song. You may not see results instantly, but once your attention is locked onto something with conviction, the process begins. Invisible currents move. People begin to feel drawn to you. Circumstances shift. Time and space realign. And all of it starts with where you place your gaze. Not just with your eyes, but with your inner vision. Most people misuse this power. They focus on what they fear, what they resent, what they lack, and then wonder why life continues to echo the same experiences. They unknowingly press play on the wrong recording over and over. But you are not here to replay pain. You are here to remember truth, to awaken abundance, to live the scene that brings you peace. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, manifestation grows. This is why it is said that you must keep your eyes single, meaning focused, unwavering, directed on the good, the pure, the true. When your attention is divided, so are your results. But when your inner eye sees only what is wanted and feels only what is desired, the outer world begins to sing that same melody. This is not a game of force. You don't need to strain your mind or fake your feelings. You need only choose. Choose the scene that aligns with your desire. Choose the outcome that sets you free. Then return to it again and again. Not with desperation, but with delight. Not with fear, but with certainty. You are not begging for something to come. You are calling it forth by giving it life through attention. Even now, what you consistently notice is growing. Are you planting weeds or flowers? Are you rehearsing pain or rehearsing victory? The choice is always yours, and the law never fails. What you attend to with faith and feeling must materialize. You have pressed play on many things in your life, some unconsciously, some in fear. But now you can choose differently. Focus on what is good, what is done, what is beautiful, what is yours, and watch the invisible become visible. Because your attention has the final say. You are not on a journey to win. You are awakening to the truth that you have already won. The prize you seek, the love, the wealth, the healing, the recognition, it is not a reward waiting at the end of a long, exhausting road. It is a present reality, wrapped in the invisible fabric of faith. The moment you truly feel it, the moment you see it with inner clarity and dwell in its vibration, it begins to unfold in your outer world. Not because you earned it through struggle, but because you accepted it by consciousness. The world has taught you to chase, to work endlessly for outcomes, to believe that success is always just out of reach. But in truth, the game is already finished. The outcome is already written. You are not here to strive for victory. You are here to remember it. The jackpot isn't in the future. It is here, now, not in material form just yet, but in substance, in truth, in essence. And when you align your mind and heart with that knowing, the form must follow. Faith is not blind optimism, it is spiritual vision. It sees the invisible as real, the promised as already delivered. When you say, I am already wealthy, or I am already loved, you are not pretending, you are declaring what exists in a higher dimension, a dimension more powerful than the one your physical senses report. The outer world is always delayed. It echoes the inner assumption with time. But the inner world, your imagination, your feeling, your awareness, that is instant. That is where the jackpot lives. You must feel now what the world says you can only feel later. Smile now, rest now, rejoice now. Speak now as the one who already holds the prize. Let your thoughts reflect the person who has already crossed the finish line. Let your posture, your energy, your silence carry the certainty of one who knows it's done, because it is done. Do not wait for outer confirmation. The world will wait for you. It takes its cue from your belief, not the other way around. If you persist in the inner knowing that the jackpot is yours, the outer world must conform. It is law, it is precision, it is unfailing. You are not asking to win. You are aligning with the version of you who already has. You are not hoping, you are embodying. You are not reaching, you are receiving. The treasure is not buried in time, it is revealed in awareness. So stop chasing, stop waiting. You are not a beggar at the gate of life. You are the heir, stepping into your inheritance. Everything is already prepared for you. But only faith can see it, and only feeling can unlock it. You are not trying to win, you already have. Now live from that truth. Walk like it, speak like it, be it, and the world will unfold in perfect response. Faith is not a desperate hope tossed into the darkness. It is not wishful thinking. It is not ignoring reality. It is seeing deeper into it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the invisible foundation upon which all things are built. When you have true faith, you are not guessing, you are knowing. You are perceiving a reality beyond the five senses and standing upon it as though it were solid ground. Faith is visionary. It sees the result when the facts say otherwise. It hears yes when the world screams no. It feels completion where others feel lack. Faith operates not on proof but on presence. It anchors you in the unseen with such confidence that the seen must eventually bow in response. It is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning yourself with the truth that already exists in spirit. But how do you know your faith is real? How do you know you've truly believed? The answer is feeling. Feeling is the evidence. It is the emotional signature of your inner conviction. When you feel something is real, your mind and body align with it. You speak differently, move differently, and live differently. You're no longer reacting to appearances. You're acting from inner certainty. You don't need to fake feelings. You simply need to surrender to the reality of what is already yours. Sit with the vision. Imagine it in detail. Feel the joy, peace, relief, and excitement that would naturally be there if your desire were already fulfilled. When that feeling becomes dominant, when it starts to linger throughout your day, that's your evidence, that's your inner proof, and that's when miracles begin, because the world does not respond to your outer actions alone. It responds to your inner vibration. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if you feel doubt, fear, or unworthiness underneath, those feelings carry more weight. But when you feel it real, when your assumption becomes your inner experience, the universe organizes itself around that emotional truth. This is the great key. What you feel to be true becomes true for you, not because you forced it into being, but because you aligned with what was always available. Faith taps into the realm of infinite possibility. Feeling anchors that possibility into form. You must go beyond believing with your mind. You must believe with your entire being. Faith doesn't look for signs. It becomes the sign. It walks before anything appears. It blesses the unseen. It trusts the invisible. It celebrates before the crowd gathers. When you stand in faith and feel it real, you awaken a power that cannot be shaken by facts. Facts change, truth remains. And truth is what faith reveals. So live as if it's already done. Speak from the fulfillment. Move with assurance. Let your emotions testify to the reality you've chosen within. Because faith is your substance and feeling your undeniable evidence. And from that alignment, miracles are not only possible, they are inevitable. All that you seek is already within your reach, not in the future, but in the now. You are not chasing blessings, you are awakening to what's already been given. Imagination opens the door, acceptance locks it in, attention activates it, faith makes it real, and feeling brings it into form. You are not climbing toward the prize, you are unveiling what already belongs to you. There is no need to struggle or beg. Simply assume the end, feel it real, and watch as the world bends itself to your inner conviction. Your victory isn't pending, it's present. Just hit play. The jackpot is already yours. Say two things. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. May you walk boldly in your unseen riches. Live confidently in your inner truth, and remember always, what you claim within, life must reflect without. Everything you've ever imagined, every quiet whisper of desire, every sacred longing, every hope you buried in the silence of your heart, is not lost. It was never overlooked. From the moment you felt it real, from the instant you dared to believe even slightly in the possibility, your blessing was set in motion. You may not see it with your physical eyes yet, but you are walking through the in-between, and this in-between is sacred. It's where reality catches up with what you have already dared to accept. You must understand this. The world you see is just the shadow of your inner assumption, the echo of what you once believed. If you look around and see contradiction, do not fear, do not question. The contradiction is proof that the shift has already occurred inside of you. And now the old must fall apart. It must unravel so that the new can rise. Do not beg, do not chase. You are not here to struggle for what is already yours. Instead, be still, enter the silence, and touch the feeling of your fulfilled desire, not as someone hoping, but as one who knows. The moment you accept the reality of your blessing internally, without needing evidence, it begins to bloom in the unseen. And from there, all of life begins to organize around your declaration. Events are set in motion, conversations are scheduled, people are moved, circumstances align, not by your effort, but by your acceptance. You are not forgotten, you are not behind, you are not late. Everything is lining up. Even the delays were preparation, even the heartbreaks were redirections, even the closed doors were divine protection. The blessing is not waiting on you to be more. It is only waiting on you to agree that you already are. Stop doubting. Stop checking the clock. Stop asking when. The moment you chose to believe, it began. Your blessing is now, not tomorrow, not next week. It is now, pressing toward you, racing to meet you, wrapped in the disguise of ordinary moments. Your only work is to remain faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is your prayer, that is your power, that is how you command the unseen to become seen. So walk with confidence, act from the end, speak from the place where it is already done, and most importantly, rest. Rest in the knowledge that it is finished. Everything is lining up, your blessing is already in motion, and nothing can stop what was promised to your spirit. Everything begins within. Long before you touch it, see it, or experience it in your outer world, it was first shaped by the quiet power of your inner world. And the tool that crafts this inner world is imagination. You are not a passive observer in life. You are a creator, a builder, a divine architect. And your imagination is the tool through which you draft the blueprint of your reality. The life you are currently living, every detail, every relationship, every struggle, every blessing, was first born in imagination, either consciously or unconsciously. Most people believe the outer world dictates the inner world, that circumstances determine emotion, that what they see decides what they feel. But that is the path of the unaware. The awakened soul understands a sacred truth. It is what you feel within that gives birth to what you eventually see without. Think for a moment about a blueprint for a home. It doesn't look like much at first, just lines, sketches, symbols, but to the trained eye, it holds a vision. The builders take that image and step by step turn it into form. The house you walk into months later already existed in invisible lines before a single brick was laid. Imagination works the same way. When you imagine yourself successful, free, loved, healthy, joyful, and believe it as your truth now, you are writing the plans. You are instructing the outer world on what to build. You are handing the universe a design, and life begins construction the moment you feel it to be real. But here's the key. You must live in the blueprint before it exists in the flesh. You must act from the knowing that what you imagined is not a fantasy, it is a preview. It is not a dream to chase, it is a reality to accept. Most people sabotage their blueprint. They imagine abundance, then speak of lack. They see love in their mind, then fear rejection in their heart. They touch the vision in silence, then undo it by doubting in the noise. To live this truth, you must be loyal to the unseen. You must choose your inner vision over your outer evidence. For a time, your current world may look unchanged. That is not failure, it is the fading echo of the past blueprint. Give it time. Life needs space to rearrange. Walls need to be torn down. Old structures must fall so that the new may rise. And in that waiting, you must hold the vision. You must live with the knowing that what you imagined is real now. Let your words reflect it. Let your walk reflect it. Let your choices reflect it. When doubt whispers, return to the blueprint. When fear rises, close your eyes and see what you've chosen to believe. You are not imagining to escape reality, you are imagining to create it. Every great breakthrough, every invention, every masterpiece the world has ever seen began in imagination. The mind saw it long before the eyes did. So go boldly within, shape your world in thought, feel it fully, believe it completely, speak it gently, and release it faithfully. Today, the outer world has no choice. It must follow the inner pattern. Life does not resist the one who holds steady to the design. So craft your blueprint with intention. Sketch your future with clarity. Build in your inner world what you want to see in the outer. For imagination is not a daydream. It is divine instruction. There is a sacred order to all things, and that order always begins in the unseen. What you are longing for, praying for, working toward, it does not arrive first in your outer world. It begins in the invisible. The invisible always moves first. This is the truth many fail to understand. They search for signs. They scan their environment for proof. They measure progress by what they can touch, hear, or see. But the real movement, the true shift, happens long before the physical evidence ever shows. Imagine planting a seed in the earth. For days, maybe weeks, there is nothing visible on the surface. The soil looks unchanged. To the untrained eye, it appears as if nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, the seed is splitting, reaching, growing, roots are forming. Life is taking shape. The silence above hides the miracle below. So it is with your blessing. Once you claim your desire in faith, once you feel it as true within your inner world, the process begins. Forces are activated, energy is gathered, alignments are put into place, people are guided, doors are readied, and divine timing is arranged. But all of this happens in the invisible. You may not hear the footsteps of your answered prayer, but it is walking toward you. You may not see the shape of your healing, your abundance, your breakthrough, but it is already real in the unseen. To doubt because you don't yet see is to dig up the seed because it hasn't sprouted. The visible is always the last to arrive. The invisible does the heavy lifting. It prepares, aligns, and orchestrates what your physical eyes will soon witness. This is why faith is not blind, it is visionary. It is the ability to walk in certainty while others are still asking for proof. It is the quiet knowing that your blessing is not pending, it is progressing. But here is what most miss. Your job is not to force the visible, it is to remain faithful to the invisible. Do not let the appearance of nothing happening fool you. Life is working for you behind the curtain. What you see as silence is actually strategy. What you feel as delay is divine preparation. You must continue walking, not with your eyes, but with your heart. Keep the feeling alive. Speak as if it's done. Move as if it's here. Think as if you've already received. This is how you stay aligned with what's being prepared for you. Do not speak against it. Do not undo the invisible work with visible doubt. The shift has already occurred. The moment you imagined it and believed it, the wheels began to turn. The moment you said yes in your spirit, creation said yes in return. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting for you to stay in agreement with it. Let this be your confidence that though you cannot yet see it, it has already begun. Though you may not feel the change around you, the vibration has already shifted within you. And that inner shift guarantees the outer manifestation. Your words may not yet echo in the world, but they have been heard in the unseen. Your faith may seem silent, but it has moved mountains behind the veil. So stay steady, trust the process, praise before you see, rejoice before it's visible. Because in the invisible, your name has already been called, your path has already been cleared, your blessing has already left heaven and is now route to your life. You've been taught to wait for outer confirmation before you celebrate. You've been told to hold your joy until the bank account rises, the relationship appears, the healing is visible. But that teaching is backward. That is the way of the world, not the way of creation. Creation happens in feeling. The moment you feel the truth of your desire fulfilled, you have entered the state of receiving. That is the true receiving. Not when it arrives in physical form, but when it arrives in your emotional world. When your inner being says it is done, that is when the blessing is truly yours. Most people think they are waiting, but in truth, they are delaying. Why? Because they postpone the feeling of fulfillment. They treat the feeling like a reward for evidence instead of understanding that the feeling is the evidence. If you only feel wealthy once money appears, you're bound to stay in lack. If you only feel loved once someone validates you, you will continue to chase. If you only feel healed once the report changes, you will remain sick in spirit. But the moment you feel as though it's already yours, before it arrives, you call it into your life. That is not imagination, that is alignment. Everything in this universe responds to your state of being, and your state of being is governed by your feelings. If you feel abundance, you are abundant. If you feel whole, you are healed. If you feel chosen, you are already loved. You may ask, but how can I feel something that isn't real yet? And the answer is this: it is real the moment you feel it. You must remember, your outer world is always catching up to your inner conviction. The delay is not because the universe is testing you. The delay exists only because you are testing yourself, oscillating between belief and doubt, between fulfillment and lack, between receiving and reaching. Stop treating fulfillment as something that lives on the other side of manifestation. Fulfillment must come before the manifestation. It is the signal, the vibration, the key that unlocks the door. So go into the silence. Close your eyes. Detach from what your five senses say and enter what your heart knows. Begin to feel what it would be like if your desire had already come to pass. Speak from it, breathe in it, smile in it, walk in it. Stay there long enough and you will notice a change. Peace will replace striving. Joy will replace anxiety. Gratitude will rise without condition. This is the shift. This is the proof. And when you can return to that inner state repeatedly, regardless of what's happening around you, then know this: you have received it in full. The outer form is on its way, pulled by the magnet of your certainty. You are not pretending. You are not fooling yourself. You are not playing games with your mind. You are training your being to align with what is already yours in the unseen. The world will say, I'll believe it when I see it. But the soul says, I'll see it because I've already felt it. So, stop waiting for proof. Stop begging for signs. The moment you can feel it is done, you are no longer waiting. You are receiving. Feeling is not preparation. Feeling is participation in the promise. And when you feel it fully, you have already arrived. To the impatient eye, delay looks like failure. To the ego, delay feels like punishment. But to the awakened mind, delay is understood as divine positioning. When something in your life feels paused, when your manifestation appears stuck, when doors stay closed longer than expected, when answers seem silent, it is not rejection. It is not the universe turning away. It is the universe aligning every detail with precision. Delay is not the end. It's the setup. You are not being denied your blessing. You are being prepared to hold it. You see, your desire was heard the moment it was felt. You don't need to repeat it over and over as if heaven is hard of hearing. Creation began the instant you dared to believe. But because you cannot always see the invisible movements, you mistake silence for absence, stillness for loss, and waiting for punishment. It is none of those things. Imagine a skilled conductor preparing an orchestra. Every instrument must be tuned. Every player must be in place. The timing, the harmony, the rhythm. Everything must align so that when the first note is played, it is not noise, but music. So it is with your life. The people who are meant to meet you, they are being shaped. The resources you need, they are being positioned. The opportunity you seek, it is being woven into the perfect moment. Not for your convenience, but for your growth. Because a blessing given too soon can become a burden. If you receive something before you are ready, before your mind can hold it, before your soul is expanded enough to contain it, you will sabotage it. The universe is not cruel, it is careful. It will never give you something meant to elevate you if you are not yet standing in the awareness to receive it properly. So the delay is mercy. The delay is wisdom. The delay is protection. It is not punishment. It is not silence. It is not no. It is not yet. And not yet is sacred. In this space of not yet, you are becoming the version of yourself who will not just touch the blessing but thrive within it. This is where your strength is formed, where your faith is tested and fortified, where your inner world is expanded enough to hold the new life you asked for. You must stop interpreting waiting as failure. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on your readiness. So use the delay wisely. Don't curse it, don't rush it, don't fight it. Instead, grow within it. Refine your vision, strengthen your mind, deepen your belief, build your foundation so that when the breakthrough arrives, you will not just see it, you will sustain it. Sometimes your blessing is just behind one final act of faith, one final moment where you choose to trust even when nothing makes sense. And when it arrives, and it will arrive, you will see why it took the time it did. You will understand the timing, you will thank the delay. You will look back and say, I wasn't being denied, I was being positioned for something greater than I imagined. Let this be your truth. Delay is never denial. Every pause holds purpose. Every waiting room is an anointing room. Every quiet season is fertile soil where the roots of your destiny grow deeper. So do not fear the delay. Bless it. Respect it. Use it. For what seems paused is only being perfectly positioned, and what is positioned in the unseen will arrive in the seen, exactly when it is meant to. Everything you are experiencing in this moment, every condition, every relationship, every circumstance, is not a reflection of who you are right now. It is a residue, a fading echo of who you used to be, what you used to believe, and what you used to expect. Life reflects consciousness, but not always instantly. Just like sound bounces off walls even after the voices stop speaking, your life continues to echo the beliefs you once held, long after you've outgrown them. So, so don't panic when what you see contradicts what you now know. Don't doubt your power just because the world around you hasn't caught up to your inner transformation. You are walking through the last ripple of a reality you've already changed. This is why staying focused is sacred. When you shift your inner state, when you declare a new assumption, when you accept a new vision, when you feel the new truth is already real, you send a new signal into the unseen. You have spoken into the silence. But for a time, the echo of your old beliefs may still ring around you. That's not failure, that's not resistance, that's just the old reality dissolving. But here is the test. Will you respond to the echo, or will you stay loyal to the declaration? You must train yourself not to react to appearances. The current situation is old news. It is a playback of expired assumptions. What you see is not what is, but what was. You are not bound to it. You are not defined by it. You are only walking through it. Let's be clear. This is not delusion. This is creation. You are not ignoring facts. You are choosing truth. You are choosing to live from the end rather than fall into fear. You are choosing to stand in the vibration of the future, not the ruins of the past. When the echo tries to distract you, when things go wrong, when people act out, when delay lingers, remind yourself, this is not mine. This is an old signal returning. I no longer claim this. And return your mind to what you've declared. Hold the vision. Hold it when it's easy, and especially when it's not. Hold it when the world agrees with you, and more importantly, when it doesn't. Because the world isn't the cause, it's the effect. Your inner state is the only thing that matters. It is the only thing that creates. This is where the power lies, not in fixing the outside, but in mastering the inside. Not in fighting the echo, but in reinforcing the truth. You don't have to silence the echo. You just have to stop obeying it. Ignore the noise, refuse the fear, speak your new reality louder than the echo of your old one. Say it again. I am already blessed. I am already aligned. I am already chosen. I am already whole. And say it not as wishful thinking, but as absolute truth, as law. Because when you persist in that declaration, the echo fades, the old dissolves, the shadows vanish. And your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match the new signal you are steadily sending. So, if things feel stuck, chaotic, or confusing, breathe. You're not lost. You're just walking through the final echoes of an expired vibration. Stay faithful to what you have declared. Keep your eyes on the inner world. Keep your heart anchored in the vision. The real shift has already happened. The outer world is just catching up. The echo is temporary, but the word you've spoken into creation is eternal. Assumption is not just a thought. It is not merely a passing wish or a temporary hope. It is the seed of creation. It is the belief you accept as true even before there's any evidence. And once planted firmly in your consciousness, everything in your world begins to obey it. The law is simple. What you assume to be true, consistently and without wavering, will harden into fact. The world around you, what you call reality, is not fixed. It is pliable, flexible, obedient. It does not act with free will. It mirrors. It listens to your inner conviction and it organizes itself accordingly. Not occasionally, always. You may not realize it, but your life is a living reflection of the assumptions you've carried about money, love, health, worth, and possibility. These assumptions live beneath your words. They speak through your energy. They shape your expectations and your experiences. If you assume you're always overlooked, life delivers people and situations that confirm it. If you assume you're deeply loved and favored, the world will rise to reflect that too. It is not magic, it is law. And here's the miracle: you get to choose the seed. The seed you plant is the belief you feed, and the one you feed, you live. Most people water seeds of doubt, limitation, and fear, then weep when those are the fruits they harvest. But the wise know that to change the fruit, you must change the root. You must dare to assume differently, even when it contradicts your past, even when it defies your current circumstances, even when your senses scream the opposite. You must remain loyal to the new assumption. You do not wait for proof. You become the proof. Say to yourself, I am worthy, I am successful, I am chosen, I am safe, I am wealthy, I am loved. And don't just say it, assume it. Make it the core of your identity. Let it be the lens through which you see everything. You may ask, but what if I don't see results? That question itself reveals your inner allegiance. Because when an assumption is truly accepted, you no longer look for evidence, you expect it. You live as though it already is. You walk differently, you speak differently, you react differently, and slowly the world bends to meet you there. There may be a delay, but never mistake delay for disobedience. Life is adjusting, rearranging, aligning to match what you've dared to believe. Your assumption is the command. Life is the servant, but only when you hold steady. If you abandon the new belief at the first sign of challenge, you uproot the seed. But if you persist, if you hold the assumption with quiet confidence, regardless of appearances, the results are inevitable. Everything, people, opportunities, outcomes, obeys the assumption you refuse to let go of. You don't chase, you don't force, you align. And in that alignment, everything changes. So plant wisely, choose powerfully, assume boldly, let the seed be, it is already mine, and live from that place, not as a performance, but as your truth. Because once the seed of assumption is planted and protected, life has no choice but to bear fruit in its image. You were never meant to chase life, only to align with it. What you imagine, what you feel, what you assume, these are not empty acts. They are the blueprint, the motion, the command. Everything is already in progress, even when you don't see it, even when it feels silent. The invisible has moved. The delays you feared were only sacred pauses, giving time for the unseen to arrange the visible. The contradictions you faced were merely echoes of old beliefs, fading out as your new truth rises. Hold the vision, trust the blueprint, anchor yourself in the fulfilled feeling, assume the best, and do not let go. Because life is not resisting you, it is responding to you. And everything is lining up. Your blessing has already been set in motion. And no force on earth can stop what has been faithfully declared and emotionally claimed. So walk in faith, speak from fulfillment, and rest in the knowing it is already done. Thank you for listening. Keep the vision alive. Stay aligned, and remember, your reality is always becoming what you believe it to be. You didn't find this video, it found you. Not by luck, not by coincidence, but by divine orchestration. The moment your heart whispered, I'm ready, the universe echoed back, then it is done. Right now, something sacred is unfolding within you. You felt the stirring. the invisible movement, the inner shift that no one else can see, but you know it's real. Before the blessing arrives in the outer world, it first arrives in your inner conviction. Before the money, the love, the healing, there is the image, the belief, the deep knowing. You saw it in your imagination, and that was not pretend. That was the real beginning. You are not becoming blessed. You already are. The moment you entertained the thought of a better life, the moment you dared to believe there must be more, you triggered a holy law. This law does not operate by struggle or a merit. It operates by assumption. By your knowing, you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and everything else rearranges itself to reflect that. So hear me when I say this. You are not watching this video out of boredom. You were drawn here because your blessing is now activated. The blessing is not waiting on the world. The world is responding to the new version of you that has awakened. And now, that version begins to be mirrored back in opportunities, in people, in sudden favor. You're not waiting anymore. You're remembering. You are remembering that the delay was never denial. That the quiet season was not punishment, it was preparation. And now, the doors begin to open. The right people begin to call. The divine provision shows up without your striving. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally believed. So be still, feel it, rest in the knowing. This is the season where heaven invades your timeline. The moment you said yes in your spirit, life said yes to you. You will look back on this moment not as the beginning, but as the moment you recognized what was already yours. Your blessing has begun, and nothing can stop it now. You did not stumble upon this video by accident. It was an algorithm of a coincidence. Something far greater is at work here, something that responds not to your frantic search but to the silent signals of your awareness. Life is not a game of chance. It's a mirror that reflects the quiet intentions of your heart, the things you dare to feel before they appear. The moment you became aware that change was necessary, the moment you silently whispered, "I'm ready for more," the wheels began to turn. Awareness is not passive. It is the most powerful force in creation. It calls things into form. You didn't have to scream or beg. You didn't have to explain your worth to the universe. You didn't even need to know what you were looking for. Your desire was enough. The hunger in your soul was heard. That longing, that ache, it was not ignored. It was answered the moment it arose. And this message is the evidence. You see, awareness doesn't operate on the surface. It works beneath appearances. It's not about running around in search of the next solution. It's about becoming deeply still and fully aware of the life you truly want to live. When you allow that vision to saturate your inner world, life has no choice but to respond. That is the law. And so, this video has arrived in perfect time, not a second too late, not a moment too soon. It came when your awareness reached a certain frequency, a certain depth. That frequency acted as a beacon, drawing toward you every piece of the answer you've been seeking. Not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. There are no accidents in a conscious universe. Everything that shows up in your life is a match to your dominant state of being. That is why awareness is not the search, it is the signal. When you tuned your inner dial to transformation, life began sending frequencies that matched it. When you felt a shift within and said, "I want peace, I want clarity, I want breakthrough," your world started rearranging itself to reflect that declaration. You didn't need to find this message. This message was already on its way to you. The only requirement was that your awareness be ready to receive it. And now it is. The blessing is not coming. It has already begun. And this moment is your proof Before the blessing takes shape in the world around you, before the money is in the account, before the healing is visible, before the relationship appears, something sacred has already occurred. It showed up first in your imagination. And that was not a fantasy, that was the first arrival. What you imagined in the silence of your inner world, what you played out when no one was watching, was not meaningless. It was creation, it was the unseen becoming real. Imagination is not wishful thinking. It is the creative force behind all manifestation. Everything you see around you, every building, invention, relationship, success, began as an unseen thought. Someone dared to believe in the invisible. Someone allowed themselves to feel and live a scene in their mind long before the world gave it permission to exist. The same is true for you. When you pictured yourself free, successful, or at peace, that was not the beginning of the process. That was the moment your blessing arrived in consciousness. And consciousness is where all things are birthed. You don't have to wait for the external proof. That image you held, that scene you felt as true, has already been accepted by the higher law. The law that says, as within, so without, as above, so below. You are not imagining things for comfort. You are not fantasizing to escape reality. You are entering the only true reality, the inner world where all things are formed. That moment when you felt the joy of already having what you desire, that moment was sacred. That moment was real. It was not a preview, it was presence. The outer manifestation is simply a delayed echo of that inner moment. You may not see the evidence yet, but do not confuse delay with denial. What you've imagined with faith has been sealed. The world may not yet show the picture, but the canvas is already painted within you. The feeling is the confirmation. The imagination is the arrival. Now the rest of your life will begin to match what you've dared to believe in silence. You are walking forward not toward the blessing, but with it. You are not hoping anymore, you are remembering. You are remembering what you already saw, already touched, already claimed in your imagination. That was the true arrival. Everything else is simply unfolding from that sacred place. You don't need to force it. You only need to remain faithful to the vision. It is done. The blessing has arrived, and it began with you. The prayer has already been answered. Long before you saw a single change, long before you received any confirmation, the answer had already been spoken into existence. You are not waiting on the blessing. It is waiting on you to realize that it's here. You are not living in a state of asking anymore. You are living in the space where the answer is already unfolding. Not loudly, not all at once, but silently, steadily, like the sunrise that breaks through darkness without permission. You are now living in the answer. Not because circumstances have dramatically shifted yet, but because something inside you has. That shift in awareness, subtle yet powerful, is the true beginning of manifestation. What once felt like a distant dream, what you once labeled as someday, is now slowly revealing itself in the fabric of your present moment. The signs are small perhaps, but unmistakable. Your peace is deepened. Your fear has loosened its grip, and hope is no longer fleeting. It feels familiar. This is the answer. The quiet knowing. The inner confirmation that something has changed, not out there, but within you. The moment you started feeling the truth of your desire, the moment you allowed yourself to believe it was already yours, the future began collapsing into now. You are not chasing destiny anymore, you are aligning with it. And so, this present moment is holy. It may not look like everything you've imagined, but don't be deceived by appearances. The roots have taken hold. The foundation is in place. What is visible is only a fraction of what's unfolding. What's unseen is where the real magic is. Just like a seed planted in the soil doesn't show fruit on the first day, your answered prayer is working beneath the surface, but you can feel it. And that's enough. You are no longer the person who is asking. You are the person who has received. That's why certain things no longer disturb you. That's why your energy feels different. You've been changed by the very thing you desired. And that change is the evidence of the answer. What you used to call the future is now softly whispering in your present. The timing, the resources, the opportunities, they're coming because they must. You are now dwelling in the answer, living from the end, and walking in the direction of fulfillment, not lack. Hold this awareness because it is sacred. You've crossed the threshold. The answer is no longer on the way, it is already here. What you accept as truth within yourself begins to organize everything around you. Inner conviction is not just belief, it is alignment. It is the moment you no longer hope, you know. And from that knowing, life begins to echo back confirmation after confirmation. You no longer look outside to be convinced. You already are. The outside only reflects the state you hold within. This is why things suddenly begin to shift. Not because you forced the world to change, but because you changed your relationship to it. You stopped asking whether the blessing would come, and instead you walked as if it already had. That shift in posture, quiet, unseen, sent a signal, and that signal is now being returned in form. This video, this message, this moment you're living in now, it's not a random event. It's the echo of your inner transformation. It's the world saying, yes, you've been hurt. When your conviction becomes unshakable, the world has no choice but to bend. Because your reality is not governed by circumstances. It is governed by what you accept as true. You may not see the full picture yet, but that doesn't matter. Even the smallest crack of confirmation is proof that the inner is becoming outer, that something invisible is now being made known. The infinite speaks through signs, through quiet nudges, through things that seem insignificant until your spirit recognizes them. And now, this moment right here is one of them. This is not just a video. This is a whisper from the unseen. A message encoded with the truth you've already accepted. It is done. Keep walking. You may have been waiting for something loud, something undeniable. But creation often begins in silence. It begins with the still, unwavering conviction that says, I already have it. That conviction creates a vibration. That vibration shapes experience. And what you're beginning to live right now is that experience returning to you. So do not question the small signs. Do not overlook the gentle confirmations. These are the early fruits of your inner knowing. They are the first drops of rain before the flood. They are the universe saying, your belief has been received. Your faith is creating form. Keep going, keep believing, keep knowing. Your world is responding not to your words, but to your certainty. The outer confirmation is already here, because the inner conviction was made strong. You've already crossed the line. Now watch the evidence rise up to meet you. There comes a moment on your journey when you realize striving is no longer necessary. Not because you've given up, but because you've finally aligned. You've stopped chasing what already belongs to you and instead stepped into agreement with the version of yourself that already possesses the blessing. This is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's not passivity, it's power. You remember that what's yours doesn't need to be forced. It only needs to be accepted. All your effort, all your striving, all your desperate attempts to make things happen were only necessary when you thought you were separate from the outcome. But you're not. You never were. The moment you stopped running toward your blessing and instead decided to become the one who has already received it, everything changed. The shift was internal. And that internal agreement, subtle but powerful, is what begins to draw all things into alignment. You don't need to convince life to bless you. Life is always saying yes to who you are being. When you were being someone desperate, life mirrored lack. When you began being someone fulfilled, life began to unfold with ease. This is not magic, it's law. It's not about deserving, it's about alignment. When you align with peace, peace meets you. When you align with abundance, abundance finds you. And when you align with the version of you who already has the blessing, the world begins to rearrange to match that version. This is the end of forcing, this is the beginning of flow. You've stopped pleading and started allowing. You've stopped striving and started receiving. You've come into inner agreement with your highest self, the one who already knows it is done. That agreement sends out a frequency, and that frequency draws experiences, people, resources, and timing that reflect your new identity. Alignment is not laziness, it is precision. It is the highest form of spiritual intelligence, because it says, I no longer work from lack, I live from completion. And that completion, the fullness you now feel, is the sign that you've crossed into a new reality. So let go of the hustle, let go of the worry, let go of the doubt. You're not here to prove yourself, you're here to be yourself, the self who is already chosen, already provided for, already blessed. The blessing has already begun. You stepped into agreement with it the moment you stopped striving and started trusting. Keep walking in that truth, because now the work is finished. You're just aligning with its manifestation. You are not attracting blessings through effort, hustle, or struggle. You are drawing them in because you have become the one to whom they naturally belong. This is not about force. It is about identity. It is about embodying the version of yourself that already knows the blessing is inevitable. And when you know, when you truly know, without wavering, without doubting, that inner declaration becomes a magnet. Everything in your world begins to shift in response to the state you occupy. The outer world is not random, it is responsive, it mirrors what you carry within. And when your inner world declares, it is already mine, life cannot help but reflect that truth. You do not have to demand anything. You do not have to chase. What belongs to you begins to recognize you, the moment you recognize yourself. This is the sacred mystery. It is not effort that brings things to you. It is alignment with the version of you that already has them. It is inner knowing that creates outer manifestation. Blessings are not rewards. They are reflections. And the clearer your self-concept becomes, the more easily those reflections appear, not as miracles, but as a natural outcome of who you've become. The moment you stop hoping and start knowing, something powerful happens. You stop asking if it will happen and begin to prepare for its arrival. You begin to think like it's already done, speak like it's already real, and move through your life with the calm confidence of someone who is already provided for. That calm, that confidence, that knowing, it is the sign that you've become the one. And now all things must come to you. They don't come because you want them. They come because you're now a match. You've become the container that can hold them. You've made room for them in your heart, in your thoughts, in your energy. Your knowing has made it so. You don't need to beg for the relationship, the healing, the breakthrough. You only need to live from the end, to walk as one who has already been chosen, already been favored. Your energy now says, I have arrived, and the world rushes to meet you there. This is the law. The world does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. And when you become the one who knows, everything else must align. Because now you're no longer seeking the blessing, You are the one the blessing seeks. You did not come across this message by accident. It found you because something within you shifted, because your awareness called it in. Your blessing has already begun, not by force, but by your silent agreement with the life you were always meant to live. Imagination revealed it, conviction anchored it, and your alignment sealed it. You no longer chase because you know. And now all things are moving toward you, not because you became the one who receives. Let this be your reminder. The moment you stopped striving and started believing, the blessing started flowing. You're not waiting anymore, you're walking in it now. Stay faithful to the vision, because it is already yours. Say thanks like this. Thank you, Divine Presence, for showing me that it is already done. Thank you for aligning my mind, my spirit, and my path with what is already mine. I no longer strive, I rest in knowing. I no longer chase, I receive with grace. I am the one you have chosen, and now I walk in the fullness of that truth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Close your eyes for a moment and forget the noise. Forget what the world told you is possible. Forget time, logic, and evidence. Enter the quiet place within you. That's where the blessing was born. You see, the blessing is not just coming, it's already prepared. It's already designed. It's bigger than you imagined, and now it's calling your name. But to receive what is bigger, you must become still inside, not frantic, not desperate, not begging. Still, confident, assured. Because the moment you assume a thing to be true, even when your senses deny it, the universe rearranges itself silently, not as a reward, but as a reflection. You're not here to struggle toward the blessing, you're here to embody it, to walk like it's done, to speak like it's finished, to think like the promise is already delivered. Every delay you feel is not denial, it is alignment. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on you to fully trust, to drop your doubts, to silence the fear, to feel it real. That desire you carry, it did not come from emptiness. It came as a seed from the divine. And whatever is born from the divine cannot return void. So if you've seen it in your imagination, if you felt it in your soul, if it showed itself in your quietest prayers, then it already exists. You don't need to convince the world. You don't even need to convince yourself. You only need to assume the position, the mental position of one who already holds the blessing. And then it comes. Not by force, not by struggle, but by flow. The doors you thought were locked swing open. The people you thought forgot you remember your name. The opportunities you thought were lost reappear better than before. The blessing is coming, and it's not small, it's not average, it's not what they said you could have. It's bigger, bigger than you imagine, bigger than your history, bigger than your mistakes. So prepare your spirit, stand in faith, stay in the vision. You don't have to run anymore, you don't have to chase. Get ready, because what's about to arrive is so much greater than what you thought was possible. And when it comes, you remember this moment when you chose to believe, not with your eyes, but with your soul. It is already done. It is already yours. Now, receive it. Imagination is the womb of blessings. It is not a passive daydream or wishful thinking. It is the divine workshop where your future is quietly being constructed. Every image you hold, every scene you replay, every outcome you dare to feel real within the secret chambers of your mind. These are not fantasies. They are blueprints. They are signals sent into the unseen, calling forth matter to obey the mold of thought. The world you see around you is not the cause, it is the result. It is the echo of your inner world, not the source of your truth. The moment you dare to close your eyes and see what has not yet appeared, something extraordinary begins to happen. Life starts to bend, subtly at first, then unmistakably, toward your inner assumption. This is not about wishing, it is about assuming. There's a quiet power that awakens the moment you no longer ask if it will happen, but feel that it already has. That feeling, rich in confidence and stillness, is the creative force that reshapes everything around you. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to explain it. You just need to hold the image within yourself, as tenderly and certainly as a mother holds life in her womb. It doesn't matter what the facts say. It doesn't matter what others believe is logical. You are not bound by evidence. You are led by vision. And your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the origin of it. If you can see yourself healed, life begins to mirror healing. If you can see yourself abundant, doors of provision begin to open. If you can see yourself in love, harmony begins to orbit around your presence. This is the quiet secret of creation, that the inner precedes the outer, that the invisible forms the visible, that before it can arrive at your door, it must first be welcomed into your mind. Imagination is not a denial of reality. It is a superior reality, a deeper truth that brings the seen into alignment with the unseen. Hold your vision, not as a distant hope, but as a current fact. Embody the feeling of it. Dwell in the joy of it. For what you consistently see inwardly, life has no choice but to reflect outwardly. The blessing is already taking shape within you first. That is where miracles begin. Your assumption is a seed. Plant it, then let it grow. Every time you declare something as true in your inner world, even before your senses confirm it, you drop a seed into the soil of consciousness. That assumption, though invisible to the eyes, is not lost. It is alive, it is active, it is becoming. Most people assume doubt, they assume failure, they assume the worst, and life reflects it back. But when you assume the best, not in fear but in faith, you create a new pattern in the invisible. That assumption begins to vibrate, to shift the currents of life around you. It's not magic, it's law. The inner produces the outer, always. But like any seed, your assumption needs time to grow. A seed buried in the earth doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. It goes into the darkness first. It breaks open. It transforms in silence, away from human eyes. The blessing isn't delayed. It's developing in unseen ways. Your job isn't to dig it up every day to see if it's growing. Your job is to believe the process is already underway. This is the great misunderstanding. People think if they don't see instant results, nothing is happening. But life is always moving beneath the surface. A delay in the outer world is not a denial. It's a sacred pause. A moment for your inner world to catch up, align, and make space. The assumption you hold right now is shaping your path forward. If you assume lack, life reflects limitation. If you assume abundance, life begins to create ways for it to flow to you, even if you can't yet see how. Your assumption determines the fruit, just as surely as the seed determines the tree. Do not worry if nothing appears to be changing yet. The blessing is moving toward you quietly, efficiently, and precisely. What's meant for you is not being kept from you, It's being prepared for you, and you're being shaped to receive it. Keep your mind fertile. Feed your assumption with faith, not fear. Water it with gratitude. Shield it from doubt. And most importantly, leave it alone. Trust the process. Let it unfold without force. The harvest will not be rushed, but it will come. Not because you pushed, but because you believed. The blessing has not forgotten you. It's just growing roots where you cannot see. So when it blooms, it will stand strong and unshakable. Keep assuming it is done. And soon you'll watch what once lived only in your imagination rise up into your life. Your blessing is not equal to your effort. It is equal to your belief. This truth dismantles the world's way of thinking. You've been told to hustle harder, to push more, to earn your worth through constant action. But in the divine order of life, manifestation doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from alignment. You are not here to strive your way into the blessing. You are here to believe your way into it. Belief is not passive. It's not just saying you want something. Belief is active. It is a state of being. When you truly believe, your thoughts shift, your emotions align, your actions become inspired, not forced. And in that state, you open the gates to receive. You become a vibrational match to what you once thought you had to chase. The most profound blessings are not given to those who exhaust themselves trying to prove their worth. They flow to those who know, deep within, that they are already worthy. The blessing does not respond to strain, it responds to faith. And faith is not earned, it is chosen. The idea that you have to deserve a thing through effort is born of fear, of scarcity, of a belief in separation from the source. But the truth is, nothing is withheld from you. There is no blessing you must qualify for. What you desire is already yours. It exists in a dimension where time is irrelevant and worthiness is not questioned. All that remains is for you to align. To align means to accept, to feel the reality of the desire as already fulfilled, to speak as though it's done, to walk with peace, not pressure. You are not here to beg, you are here to become. Not become more worthy, but become more aware of the truth that you always were. The moment you release the need to earn, you step into the power of creation. You stop bargaining with life and start co-creating with it. You let go of the belief that hard work is the only currency and realize that belief is the true goal. You are not a machine, you are a vessel of divine imagination. And the more you believe in your inner reality, the more the outer world conforms. It doesn't mean you do nothing. It means what you do flows from faith, not fear, from certainty, not striving. So stop exhausting yourself trying to force the door open. Stand in belief and the door will open to meet you. Because it was never about the work. It was always about the knowing. Divine timing is not delay. It is orchestration. It is the unseen hand arranging every detail with perfect precision. What feels like waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. It is coordination on a level you cannot yet perceive. When you think nothing is happening, everything is happening behind the curtain of time. What is meant for you is not being kept from you, it is being aligned with you. There are people you have not met yet being placed in position. There are resources being gathered, paths being cleared, hearts being softened. There are moments ahead that only make sense because of what you're moving through now. Your journey is not random, it is a masterpiece in progress. If you received what you asked for too soon, it could crush you, confuse you, or even pass through your hands because you weren't ready to hold it. So divine timing ensures not just the arrival of the blessing, but your readiness for it. You are being shaped, refined, strengthened, not because you're being punished, but because your future requires a higher version of you. You see, the blessing isn't just the thing you want, it's the person you're becoming in the process of receiving it. The humility, the trust, the surrender, the wisdom, all of that is part of the gift. It's not about getting there fast. It's about becoming whole enough to stay there once you arrive. Every detour is not a denial, but a divine redirection. Every closed door is not rejection, but protection. Life is not just happening to you, it's happening for you, even when you cannot see the evidence. When it seems like nothing is moving, trust that everything is moving on your behalf. The mind wants speed, but the soul wants alignment, and divine timing honors the soul. It knows the moment, the hour, the intersection where your destiny meets your preparation. Not a second too early, not a moment too late. So breathe. Let go of the timeline you created in your mind. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Trust that your blessing is not behind, it is on time. Every second of stillness, every quiet season is an act of divine coordination. What is yours is already written. Your job is not to rush the story. Your role is to trust the author. Because when it arrives, it will not just fit your hands, it will fit your heart. And you will see clearly why the waiting was sacred. You are not chasing the blessing, you are becoming the version of you who already has it. The blessing is not something distant that you must run after, it is already drawn to you. But only the you who believes, the you who trusts, the you who embodies the desire can receive it. This is not about pursuit, it is about transformation. So many exhaust themselves chasing outcomes, striving to make something happen through force or constant effort. But manifestation doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to identity. Life gives you what you are, not what you beg for. The blessing recognizes its match, and that match is you, transformed by belief. The truth is, you are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on the alignment of your identity. Who do you become when you already have the thing you're praying for? How do you walk, speak, think, and feel? That version of you, that inner state, is the magnet. The moment you shift into it, you collapse time. You step into resonance. The change always begins within. You don't need more proof, you need more presence. You need to sit quietly with the vision and assume the feeling of it being real. Let it move through you. Let it inform your decisions. Let it be your emotional home. Because when your inner world shifts, your outer world must follow. This is the mystery so many miss. You don't need to do more to become worthy. You simply need to accept what's already yours by being the one who has it. That means dropping the fear, releasing the unworthiness, letting go of the need to control or force. It means stepping into the frequency of peace, of joy, of gratitude, as if the desire were already fulfilled. When you do this, you stop chasing, you start attracting. You live from the end, and by doing so, you bring the end closer. This is not pretending, it's creating. It's embodying the truth that your imagination is more than fantasy. It is access to the future. So stop striving, stop reaching outward. Look inward and ask yourself, who would I be if I already had this? Then become that now. Speak like it, think like it, feel like it, not once but consistently. That's the real work. The outer will come, but only after the inner becomes. The blessing does not arrive when you chase it. It arrives when you are ready to receive it as the person who no longer needs to chase. And when it comes, it will feel like recognition, not surprise. Because deep down, you always knew it was already yours. The size of your blessing is determined by the stillness of your faith, not by your noise, not by how loud you affirm, not by how often you repeat the desire, but by how deeply you rest in the truth of it being done. Stillness is not inactivity, it is inner certainty. It is the quiet knowing that what you've asked for is already on its way, that you don't need to chase it, force it, or beg for it. Faith, when it's real, is calm. It doesn't panic when circumstances look the opposite. It doesn't collapse when time passes without a sign. It doesn't get anxious when the outer world refuses to agree with the inner vision. Instead, faith becomes still, it becomes steady. And in that stillness, there is immense power. Because what you do not fight against, you rise above. The blessing you seek is not delayed by the world. It's magnified by your stillness. When you can remain calm, even in the waiting, you create space for the universe to move. You release resistance. You shift from trying to allowing. And in that allowing, the blessing flows. Not as a result of pressure, but as a natural response to your alignment. Imagine a tree. It does not stress to grow. It does not question whether the sun will rise tomorrow or if the rain will come. It simply stands, rooted and open, and in its stillness, life nourishes it. You must be the same, grounded in belief, receptive to the unfolding, not shaken by temporary appearances. The more still you become, the more room the blessing has to grow. Noise disturbs the soil. Anxiety uproots the seed. But stillness protects it. Stillness says, I know what I saw in my spirit. I trust the process. I believe in what cannot yet be seen. Your calm is a signal that you already have it. You wouldn't be anxious about a blessing you truly knew was yours. You'd walk with ease. You'd smile in silence. You'd live in peace. Because the outcome is not in question. The manifestation becomes inevitable when your inner world stops oscillating between hope and fear and lands firmly in knowing. So be still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. You are not waiting on the blessing to begin. You are allowing it to finish. The moment your faith becomes calm, the journey is complete. It is already done, and your stillness is the proof. The blessing you seek is not distant, not delayed, and certainly not denied. It is already created, already prepared, already aligned with your deepest truths. You are not here to chase or strive. You are here to become. The moment you dare to imagine, to assume, to believe, you plant the seed of your desire, and through stillness, faith, and inner alignment, that seed begins to grow into form. Every assumption becomes creation. Every inner shift brings out a change. Your blessing is not determined by effort, but by embodiment, by how fully you step into the version of yourself who already possesses it. As you remain still in faith, you make room for divine timing to unfold its perfect orchestration. You are not waiting on the blessing. The blessing is waiting on your unwavering belief. So trust the process, rest in the vision, feel it real, because the truth is, the blessing is bigger than you imagined, and it's already on its way.